Hi, welcome to this edition of Inside the Story. My name is Marguerite Cleveland, and I'm a writer for Northwest Travel and Life magazine. And today I'm going to talk to you about the destination West Yellowstone, which I recently wrote about for Northwest Travel and Life magazine for their 52 Getaways edition. And this is one of my favorite editions of the magazine. Every year they publish it in December, and it gives you 52 great ideas of fun things to do in the Pacific Northwest, one of which is West Yellowstone, which I have to admit is one of my favorite places. So you can find Northwest Travel and Life magazine at nwtravelmag.com. And for more information on West Yellowstone, you can go to destinationyellowstone.com, and you'll be able to find more information about all the things I'm going to talk to you about today. So the first thing I want to mention is my article that I did for the 52 Getaways edition was taken and done in the fall. And so Yellowstone National Park towards the end of September is kind of starts tapering off into the off season. So you've got late fall and then the winter season where the crowds just really dissipate. So it's just such a great time to travel to that area. I particularly am a big fan of off-season travel. I feel like you get to meet the locals a little bit more. They have more time to spend with you. And again, places like Yellowstone National Park, it's so much better when there's less crowds. So the first thing you need to know when you're going to any destination is where to stay. So West Yellowstone is actually a town, and it's really the perfect destination, I think, for when you're going to explore Yellowstone National Park. So it's very convenient to Bozeman, Montana, which is probably the main airport, and that's about a 2-hour drive to West Yellowstone. And as you're driving through, you actually pass through a section of Yellowstone National Park. So it's just a really beautiful scenic drive, and you don't even feel like you've been driving for 2 hours. So once you get into town, there's such a variety of lodging. They have everything from condos, hotels, little family-owned businesses at all different price points. And the town is super walkable, so wherever you decide to hang your hat for the night, you can easily walk to the shops and restaurants, a lot that do stay open during the winter months. And then just a caveat to that, when you're planning your trip, you do want to double check on that. And destinationyellowstone.com has a list of places that are open, and you can also call the individual businesses, which I always recommend, especially after 2020. You just want to make sure what's open and not open. So you also want to know where to eat. So when you go to West Yellowstone, you're not going to find any hoity-toity restaurants or any huge farm-to-table type experiences. And really, when you're traveling in the winter, especially in the park, it's going to be cold, snowy, wet. So you're just going to want really good, hearty food. And so West Yellowstone restaurants tend to focus on a Western-style food. There's just about every restaurant has wild game on the menu, hearty stews, steaks, burgers, that type of food. And chili, especially wild game chili, is a big one. You'll see on the menus as well. One of my favorite places to eat there is Bullwinkle's Saloon and Eatery. And this is a local family-owned business. They make everything homemade, including all their sauces and salad dressings are made from scratch. So it's just really a good experience. And one of their meals you don't want to miss, their entrees, is their elk ravioli. So this is a really filling, hearty meal. The ravioli's tossed with wild mushrooms, tomatoes, shallots, garlic, and then it's topped with this creamy kind of brown sauce, and then sprinkled with Parmesan cheese and fresh herbs, and it's really good, and definitely a unique dish you don't want to miss. Another place I like is the Buffalo Bar in the Buffalo Bar, I'm sorry, and their focus, they're mainly known for their burgers, but they also do these really robust bowls, and they've got just a couple different ethnic takes, I think, to cater to the different people that come to Yellowstone. So they do 3 versions of spaghetti pie, and then they also do these buffalo meatballs that are put over garlic mashed potatoes and covered in a brown gravy. And it's just really, really good. And especially when it's cold, that kind of warm gravy just really hits the spot. It's a really good comfort food meal. So now let's talk about what to do. And I guess it's like just what not to do. Even in the winter, there are just so many activities to do in the area. The first thing, obviously, if you're coming to West Yellowstone, you want to go to Yellowstone National Park. And the town is actually adjacent and borders right up to the national park, so it's really convenient to get in there. So during the fall season, you can still drive. The roads tend to close sometime around the first snow, and depending on the weather. And then in the winter, I guess everything's kind of closed for about a month, and then sometime in November, once they've got a good snowpack, it's open back up. But the only way that you can get in the park is either by snow coach, snowmobile, or your own 2 feet on snowshoes or cross-country skis. So the snow coach is probably the most easiest, convenient way to get into the park. They're heated. They're kind of like either like a large SUV or a minibus put on I guess like a sled, kind of like a snowmobile, but just a vehicle. And so that's pretty good, especially if you're not super athletic. It's just an easy way to get into the park, and you'll be warm too. And then the other way is with a guide on a snowmobile. So that can be just really super high adventure and lots of fun. So there's 2 companies I like to recommend in West Yellowstone. One is Backcountry Adventures, and the other is See Yellowstone. And they both have options for guided tours into the Yellowstone National Park, either on a snow coach or a snowmobile. And typically, I'm not usually a person that likes to go on a guided trip. I kind of like to see things on my own, but I have to admit, when going to a national park, having a guided tour really elevates your experience, and I really feel like it's worth the cost. The guides kind of know where the animals hang out, especially in the winter. They have relationships with the park personnel that can keep them informed on what's going on too, and they just have kind of an insight. They all have their own hidden gems, or secret spots they like to share with their groups they take into the park. So again, it's really worth the experience, and you'll find things about the park that you probably didn't know just from driving in on your own. Then another company in town is Yellowstone Adventures, and in the fall you can do the ATVs, and then in the winter you can do the snowmobiles. And they like to, you can rent right there in town, and then hop on your snowmobile or ATV and go right into the Custer Gallatin National Forest, which you can access from the edge of town. And it's got miles of trails, and it's really just a neat experience. And it's so cool too, because you can actually drive your snowmobiles in town as well. So that's kind of an experience. Another way, as I mentioned before, you can ski, cross-country ski or snowshoe. And one of the local businesses that I like to highlight is Free Heel and Wheel. And they're a ladies-owned company, and they're a great resource for ski and snowmobile rentals as well. So you have the Rendezvous Trails, which you can access over 35 kilometers of groomed ski trails right from town. The Boundary Trail runs along the Yellowstone National Park border, and that's also dog friendly. And then there's a Riverside Trail that leaves from town and goes into Yellowstone National Park along the river, so that's a fun way as well. Then the national park itself actually has warming huts. So you'll have to check their website to find specifics on which are open and how far apart they are. But that's something to know that you can access, especially if you're on your own 2 feet. It's kind of nice to take a break and warm up. Then also from town, you can take sled dog rides. Different companies also offer sleigh rides, and those are a lot of fun, especially the sled dogs, because they're Alaskan Huskies, and they're born, or I guess they're bred for pulling a sled, and that can be just a super neat experience. And of course, kids love being around the dogs. And then another option, if you don't feel like getting outside, is the Yellowstone giant screen. which is open throughout the winter as well. And that has a giant screen, and during the day they show a movie about Yellowstone National Park. And then in the evenings they show first run movies. And again, you just want to double check when you're planning your trip as to what's open and not open. Again, with 2020 and COVID-19 pandemic, you just want to kind of keep up to date on what's going on with that. And then the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center is just such a cool adventure. So the bears that they have there do not hibernate during the winter. So you'll actually have a chance to see a bear. And one of the things they do there, which I've never seen anywhere else, is they actually test bear containers. So they will take, people will come to them and present a bear container, whether it's like a cooler, a trash can, or different types of things to keep bears out of food. And they'll put it in their display area, and the bear will have a shot at it. And it's surprising how many of them fail. And then each item is tested twice before it's certified as bear proof. So that's kind of a cool thing. And then they also have a wolf pack at the Discovery Center. And their newest item is a river otter display that's an indoor area that you can observe the otters swimming around, and they're always so cute. And the Discovery Center has both indoor and outdoor viewing areas, so you can stay warm if you want, or you can get outside and walk around. And it's one of those things I went to, and I kind of wanted to go back again. It just really neat experience, and especially getting a chance to see a grizzly bear and see how huge they are is just pretty impressive. So anyways, that's Destination Yellowstone. The Northwest Travel Life magazine is actually going to run another article later this year on the winter travel to West Yellowstone. So you're kind of getting a sneak peek with me sharing that with you right now. And then make sure you visit destinationyellowstone.com. It has tons of information on everything I just spoke about today, as well as specialized itineraries. Like if you just want to do something that's family friendly, or you have specific interests, they have information on that. And it's one thing I always do when I travel is take time to visit the destination's website, because you can find a lot of information and really help plan your trip better. And most of them are pretty up to date. So they'll give you more information, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic and different things, the weather, things like that. They kind of tend to keep those updated if there's any closures or anything like that. So again, it's Destination Yellowstone. DestinationYellowstone.com. And then if you want to see more about Northwest Travel Magazine, that's at nwtravelmag.com. And they also have a lot of articles, so online as well, so you can search for a destination and find out more information, especially from different writers' perspectives. So that's always a nice thing. So thank you very much for listening to us today, and I hope you learned a little bit about West Yellowstone and get a chance to visit yourself. Thank you.